Hi everyone. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Sophia Zuma. I am the founder and president of the MBA Network at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, which is a new student-run organization through the university. We're really excited to have Sharon Polansky, the director of the graduate program for the MBA, the online MBA at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, with us today. She has been with the program for about 15 years, which I was speaking to her about a few moments ago. And she is just a wealth of information. I'm sure many of you have had interactions with her via email or over the phone, either prior to or during your time in the program. So we're just so thankful that she has taken time out of her day today to join us to answer some questions. She's going to first go over kind of some announcements and introductions, and then we'll get into the Q&A portion. I have a lot of questions that have been submitted, but it seems like there's a lot of people on the call. So we'll first do the announcements, then we'll go through some of the pre-submitted questions, and then we'll open it up to live questions from the people who are going to be joining or who are joining us today. So without further ado, thank you so much, Sharon, and I'll pass it over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sophia, and welcome to everyone who could take time out of your day to join us. I'm really happy to be able to talk with you, and mainly what I wanted to start out with was just giving you some information, perhaps just some reminders. First of all, if you have not registered for Spring 1 online mini-term or Spring 2 online mini-term, you should be able to do that now on sale. And I always encourage everyone to register early because, as many of you may have already experienced, some of our classes do close. And if you want a particular class, you need to get registered quickly. Always keep in mind that the tuition is not due. For example, for Spring 2, you don't have to pay the tuition until shortly before the term begins. Also, in regard to Spring 1 and Spring 2, because of COVID-19, we did have a shift in start dates. So I want to make sure everyone knows what the correct start dates are. Spring 1 of 2021 will begin on January 25th, not January 19th. The old date was 19th, but we shifted it to January 25th. And Spring 2 will begin on March 18th. So, that means, and I know many of you have told me this, have contacted me about this, there is a really long break between the end of Fall 2, which Fall 2 is going to end next week on the 24th. And then you have nearly 2 months before Spring 1 begins. We don't typically like to have that long of a break, but again, it was COVID-19 driven. The university, and this is more for the on-campus students rather than the online students, the university administration changed the start and end dates for fall and for spring in hopes that they could contain the spread of COVID-19. And I'm happy to report, I don't think we've had many cases on campus. So it looks as though it may be working quite well, but that's kind of the explanation for why things are so different in terms of the length of the winter break. Normally it's somewhere around 5 weeks, 6 weeks at the most, but this time around the break is about 8 weeks instead. So thanks for your patience with us, and hopefully it'll give you some time to relax before you jump back into Spring 1, or perhaps just work ahead a bit. Also, I don't know if anyone on the call is graduating this fall or is graduating in the spring. And of course, this is also COVID-19 information. If you are graduating this fall, my understanding is that we are having an actual physical ceremony, but it will be outdoors, weather permitting, on December 12th and December 13th. And you should have received communication regarding that. If you haven't, you can let me know separately and we can discuss that. For those of you who might be graduating in the spring, again, it's still too early to tell, but we're very hopeful that we will have our normal spring commencement ceremonies in the American Bank Center in downtown Corpus Christi. And of course, we always want as many of our online students to come and participate in that. It's not required, but we encourage everyone to come. In the past, we have had a reception on campus for our online MBAs and also our online Master of Accountancy students the evening before commencement. And it's a great opportunity to meet faculty that maybe you've not met in person ever, and also me and the Dean of the College of Business and the people that work in my office with me, which you've probably talked with or emailed back and forth. So just keep all of those dates in mind. Those were my main announcements. And now, Sophia, we can start Q&A.
Sure. So I think you covered some of the questions about like different and things, and it seems like we're all just kind of going with the flow regarding how COVID happened. So I won't ask the questions that you've covered, but here's some, I guess, basic ones. So does the degree say online, and does the diploma indicate a concentration if someone has taken a concentration?
Okay, I get that. I get those two questions a lot. The diploma itself does not say online. The diploma will say Master of Business Administration. Unfortunately, if you pursue a concentration, the concentration will not be on the diploma that you hang on your wall. However, it will be on your official transcript, which to me, that's the more important document of the two. Because if you're applying for a position, you're probably going to have to submit transcripts, and the concentration that you pursued will be indicated on the official transcript. Okay.
Great. And then how long does it usually take students to finish the program? What is the recommended course load for MBA students?
You can complete the program in as little as 12 months, but that requires certain steps on your part. First of all, you would most likely have to have an undergraduate degree in business so that you wouldn't have to take any of the 4 leveling courses. And also, probably you would not be pursuing a concentration, although it's possible because, as you probably already know, we have 6 terms per year. They're 7 weeks long. And if you want to finish in 1 year, you would need to take 2 courses every term. What we recommend is, depending on your own situation, you should take either 1 or 2 courses per term. And if you're taking 1 course per term, probably the completion time is going to be closer to 2 years. And it varies, of course, anywhere between 1 year to 2 years. And sometimes people do stop out of the program for a short while, so it may take longer. But average completion is probably 1.5 years. I'd say if I averaged up everyone that's gone through the program, it's probably right around 1.5 years.
And just to build on that, can people take 3 courses per mini term, or is there any?
They can. You can take 3 courses per term. You do have to get permission from my office to do so. If you try to register for 3 courses, which I know some of you probably have, the system won't allow it. So it does require an override from my office. Now, I would recommend, if you do want to take 3 courses per term, that first make certain that you are in good standing, that you do have a 3.0 GPA, that you probably don't have any grades of C, so that you feel well prepared to take 3 courses at a time, because that's very, very demanding.
Yeah, I've heard of people doing that, and I just think they must be real rock stars.
Or either they don't sleep. Either one of them. I mean, you must not sleep at all.
So I just got a question in the chat. Can you come back for a concentration after receiving the MBA?
Yes, you can. It does require, if the MBA has been awarded, it does require that you reapply to the university, and you would reapply as a postmaster's non-degree seeking student. And you could then complete your 4 courses in the concentration. And what would happen then, it's going to be a little bit different in terms of your transcript. Your transcript wouldn't indicate a concentration completion. It would indicate the coursework. but then my office would provide you with a letter on College of Business letterhead that you had completed after completing your MBA, that you had returned and completed a concentration in whatever, healthcare administration, data analytics, whatever the concentration might be. Now, the one thing I want to make sure everybody's aware of is if you take this approach, you can't use financial aid if you have already been awarded the MBA and you come back, because you'd be non-degree seeking. So if financial aid is very important to you, I would recommend waiting. Go ahead, if you want the concentration, go ahead and wait and take the concentration as part of your MBA program so that you can receive your financial aid.
Yeah, that's important for a lot of people these days, I think. All right, what resources are available to MBA students at TAMU-CC doing the online course? For example, I know people say that there's career services, and I don't know what kind of access, like maybe through the library or other resources that might be available.
Exactly. I actually took a look at this myself because I wasn't completely clear. Definitely all of you have access to career services, and we have a dedicated career services person. So if you haven't heard of her name, Megan Nolan, her name is Megan Nolan. She's actually gone through the on-campus MBA program here. So she's very familiar with the curriculum and with the faculty, and is a great resource. And she can assist you virtually with your resume, with interviewing skills. And also, if you are doing a job search, she can definitely help there. We do have career fairs on campus, and you might want to discuss with her if there's any way that you can somehow participate in those. I know they've been doing them virtually because of COVID-19. So in the past, they may not have really thought about how to address the situation of someone who lives in California or lives in Virginia and doesn't really want to come to Corpus Christi for a career fair. So Megan Nolan, again, is our career services dedicated representative, and you can reach out to her for any kind of career related question. Also, the Disability Services Office is available to you. If something happens that you feel you need special accommodations in a course, you need to contact Disability Services, and they are available to online students, and that their office can assist you in getting any type of accommodation that you might need. The library, I know Sophia did mention the library. The library is available to you as well. So if you want to access materials from our library, you should be able to contact the resource people in the library, and they should be able to assist you. We also, I know I've had lots of questions about tutoring, and unfortunately, we do have an office called CASA, C-A-S-A, which is the Center for Academic Student Achievement. But my understanding is it really is more focused on undergraduate students as opposed to graduate students. They do have a writing center. If you do need help with writing, I think they might be able to assist you there. But again, it seems like their focus is more towards the undergraduate student than the graduate student. And I think that's about it. In my looking at what was available to online students, I think those are the services that you have.
Okay, thanks. That's, I think, very extensive. So hopefully, I'm sure people will find that beneficial. So I know a lot of people have been dealing with challenges because of COVID-19, or even prior to that, things come up. So one of the questions was, how long of a break can I take from the program, and how do I enroll again after taking maybe a term or 2 terms off?
Okay, you can definitely take breaks. We designed the program that way where you could jump in and out and hopefully have a very smooth, transition through your program. What I would say is, if you complete 1 course every 12 months, you should remain classified as an active online MBA student. And let's say you're considering you're not going to take a course spring 1 or spring 2. Let's go ahead and say you're going to sit out both of those terms. If you're enrolled right now in a course fall 2, You should find that when registration opens for summer and fall, that you should be able to log into SAIL and register with no problem whatsoever. If you do encounter a problem, make sure to contact my office and we can help you. Now, what happens though, let's say if you sit out for more than 1 year, probably what will happen when you try to register after a year has passed is you will get some sort of cryptic message that says readmission required. Again, contact my office, and if it's not been more than 2 years that you've been out, we can most likely get you back in the program without having to go through the entire admission process again. If it has been more than 2 years, you will need to reapply. But the good news is we've retained your transcripts, so you don't have to go through that painful process of resubmitting transcripts. We'll keep those. My understanding is the registrar's office keeps those indefinitely. So they should be here forever, basically.
Great. In the archives.
Yes.
So another question that I just received in the chat is, can we get a C in the graduate program, or is it just A's and B's? And then I think that pairs nicely with another question that was submitted ahead of time. Am I allowed 2 C's? And what if the first grade that I receive is a C and my GPA drops?
Okay. Yes, there are a lot of possibilities there. You are allowed 2 grades of C, but you have to have an overall graduate GPA of 3.0 to be in good standing and to graduate. So if you, in your very first course in the program, let's say you're taking just 1 course and you do make a C, what will happen, depending upon which term it is, the registrar's office and the Graduate Studies College does what they call an academic standing review at the end of every second term. So at the end of fall 2, the end of spring 2, the end of summer 2. So let's say you started in fall 1 and you made a C, and then in fall 2, you took 1 course and you made a B. What would happen would be you'd get a notification that you are on scholastic probation, which is mainly like a warning. You can continue in the program, but your GPA is below a 3 point. So you're given 9 semester hours to increase your GPA to the required 3.0. So again, let's say if I have a C fall 1, I have a B fall 2, I get the notification, I'm on, Sharon, you're on scholastic probation. Then assuming I'm taking 1 course at a time, then I'm going to have my next 3 courses, I need to make at least 1 A and 2 B's to return to good standing. If I don't do that, then I will be placed on enforced withdrawal for 1 year, and you do not want that to happen to you. So my advice is contact my office. You know, anytime if you get a scholastic probation notice from Graduate Studies, contact my office and let us discuss with you, what we recommend that you do moving forward. Because the last thing we want to happen is for you to go on enforced withdrawal for a year, because that's a long time to wait to have to rejoin the program. And you do have to reapply and go through that whole admission process again. Now, the better case is, let's say you've entered the program and you've made 2 grades of A, and then you make a C. You would still be in good academic standing because your GPA would be above a 3 point, but you are limited to 2 grades of C. And I always get the question, well, what if I have 3 A's and 3 C's? That's a GPA of a 3.0. Yes, it is, but you can't have more than 2 C's. So if you do make a 3rd C, even though your GPA is a 3.0, you're required to repeat one of those courses and make either an A or a B. Which leads to another question I get. What about the 1st grade when you repeat a course? Unfortunately, in graduate school, it remains on your transcript and it remains in the GPA calculation. So be really careful. The one thing, again, you don't want is a D or an F. because that is going to stay there forever. Even if you repeat the course and you make an A, the D or the F is going to remain, and it's going to drag your GPA down. So I recommend, if you see that coming, drop the course while you can, and you'll get a W, which doesn't impact your GPA. And I know if you're on financial aid, obviously you have to coordinate with their office anytime you're going to drop a course. But academically, it makes sense to drop rather than get a D or an F in a course.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the drop date is just like a couple of days before the end of the term, right? So you can wait until about finals.
Well, it depends on how many courses you're taking. If you're only taking one course per term, it's the day before the last day of courses. So for example, for fall 2, if you're just taking one course fall 2, you have until Monday to drop with an automatic W. It's called a withdrawal, but you're withdrawing from all your courses in fall 2. If you're taking 2 courses, it gets a little trickier, because if you want to drop one course but remain in the other, the drop date for that first course is earlier in the term. In fact, let me tell you, I have to look back at my calendar, but for this term, that date was November 3rd. So you had to drop by November 3rd if you wanted to remain in another course. And I usually send out an email, which I know Sophia had also mentioned, check your Islander email. A lot of times I can't send large groups of emails to personal email. It has to go to Islander. So make sure you're checking your Islander email, or you're having it forwarded to whatever email that you normally check. Because I'll send out an email to everyone prior to the start of the term with important dates. You know, what are the dates to drop those dates, and then also to get refunds of tuition and fees. And those dates are really quick. If you don't drop really quickly, you're not going to get a refund. So those are important sets of dates to know.
So on the same vein as your announcements and the helpful emails that you sent, somebody just asked in the chat, my last course is slated for spring 1. Are there specific things to do to register for graduation? Also, is the diploma or graduation status marked prior to the actual spring graduation, since that's done, I guess, in spring 2 and they're finishing in spring 1? Could they add it to their resume prior to May?
Yes, you can. However, let me go through what would typically happen, because we try to help students as much as possible. If you're going to finish your program in spring 1, your MBA is actually going to be awarded in May, but you can go ahead and put that you have completed your coursework on your resume. And I can provide, again, a letter on College of Business letterhead that indicates that, yes, this person has completed all the requirements for their MBA, and that the degree will be formally awarded in May 2021. But again, you have completed all your coursework. We only award degrees 3 times a year, in May, August, and December. So if anyone finishes in the first term, then they can reach out to my office, and I'll be glad to get that letter to them so that they can use it for employment purposes or interviewing purposes.
And then the other part of that question was, how do they register for graduation?
Oh, yes. You can actually apply for spring graduation now on sale. So if you are definitely graduating in the spring, either finishing spring 1 or spring 2, if you log into sale, you'll find under student records, there's an apply to graduate item. Click on it, and then for the term, just make sure you select spring. It'll say spring full term 2021. Go ahead and select it and follow the prompts. I think the fee, I think it's $40 or $45. It's somewhere around that for the graduation application. And you do have to pay that fee even if you're not going to be coming to the commencement, because the fee is for clearing you and preparing your diploma and all of those other related items.
Great. Yeah, and I think that was an important thing, because that confused me when I went to apply, is you select the full term, you know.
Yes. We don't have a separate selection for online terms.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. So another question, how many courses are required for a concentration?
Four. For a concentration, no matter what it happens to be in, there are 4 courses that are required, and those would be in addition to the 8 advanced graduate courses that everyone takes. And I know there's a related question about, can you pursue 2 concentrations? Yes, you can. And I've had a lot of people that do, for example, finance and healthcare administration. I've also had people do the international business and one of the others. So you can do 2 concentrations. Obviously, it would lengthen your program by another 4 courses. But if that's something that you're very interested in, it's definitely possible. Now, I've never had anyone yet, but I see the day coming that might want to do 3. I'm sure we could accommodate that as well. But so far, we've just had people do 2 concentrations.
So I guess to build on that, I think since I joined the program in 2019, I think 2 concentrations were added, the data analytics and the international business.
Correct.
Are there any plans to add more concentrations?
There are. In fact, we have a management concentration that will be rolling out, I think officially, because of how long it takes us to put things in our catalog. It won't be official until fall of 2022, but I think you'll actually, students will actually be able to begin taking the coursework as early as next summer, possibly. And that management concentration will include, if anybody's interested, the 4 courses that are going to be in it will be leadership, entrepreneurship, human resource management, and multinational management. So those are those 4. And we're still, we're always looking for other types of concentrations to add. So I know I've had inquiries about marketing, and that one's, we're aware, we're just not there yet. So currently, if you're looking at what we have healthcare administration, accounting, finance, data analytics, and international business. So currently we have 5 concentrations. And then of course you can do the general MBA with no concentration. And in that program, you take 2 electives instead of a concentration. And you can do the 2 electives if you want to take a course that is part of a concentration. That's definitely okay, as long as you have any prerequisites that are required.
I know everyone usually asks about that. Do I have to do like the 3 general electives, or 2 of the 3 general electives mentioned on the MBA website? But you're saying they can take any elective from any concentration as the general MBA electives.
They can, again, as long as you have any prerequisites. And usually where that's an issue is in accounting. So if you want to take one of the accounting courses as a general MBA elective, just make certain, you might want to check with our office, or just check the prerequisites that you're qualified to take the course.
Okay, this is a question that just came in that builds upon that, and I think this is an interesting question. I have completed leadership and entrepreneurship as part of the general MBA program, so would I only have to take 2 more classes to get a concentration?
No, unless if you've done leadership and entrepreneurship. Now, if you were going to do the management concentration, but it's not available yet, you would only have to do 2 more. But if you were going to do, let's say, the data analytics, you'd have to do 4 more courses, because those are all MIS classes. So it depends on what you've taken for those 2 electives as to how many more you would need for a concentration.
Right. So they should check the requirements for the specific concentration that they're
exactly.
And then as far as prerequisites go, can those courses be taken at another institution, and what are the requirements for getting those prerequisites waived?
Okay, on the prerequisites, we have, if you don't have an undergraduate degree in business, we have the 4 prerequisites, which are in accounting, economics, statistics, and finance. And sometimes a student has taken particularly the statistics course, because a lot of undergraduate programs require statistics, and some even require economics. So you may find that you have some, but not all of them waived. But yes, you can definitely take those elsewhere And we're very flexible because really that is more undergraduate work that we were looking for. So let's say you need the accounting prerequisite. You can either take it with us, it's Accounting 5312, or if you prefer to take it at a community college, it would require, though, that you complete 2 undergraduate courses. So be careful there. Sometimes it still winds up being cheaper to take it at a community college and take 2 courses than to take 1 course with us at the graduate level. So in accounting, you'd have to take financial accounting and managerial accounting at the undergraduate level to transfer it over to us as a waiver. And what typically happens, if you're wondering about our process, when you are admitted, then our office looks at your transcripts and our staff goes through your transcripts and sees if you qualify for a waiver of any of the prerequisites. So it's not something that you have to request, it's done automatically. But if you see that you feel that you qualified for one and it wasn't waived on your degree plan, then contact us, because it could be that, it might have been overlooked. Sometimes we get transcripts that aren't final also. So it may be that we need an updated transcript for you. But as far as you're taking those courses elsewhere, again, you can check with our office just to make sure, but you can definitely take them almost anywhere. The finance course is the one exception that it could not be completed at a community college, because at the undergraduate level, it's a junior level course. So it would need to be taken at a 4-year institution.
And then I guess to go along with that, can any of the core courses be taken at another institution?
The advanced courses?
Yeah. So
no, and the 8 advanced courses, which are the MIS 5325, the course numbers are all 5325 or 5320 or 5315. Unfortunately, those cannot be taken after you're admitted. They have to be taken at A&M Corpus Christi. Now, if you have started an MBA program somewhere else and you're transferring to us, then we will take a look at your request at work that you've done in another MBA program that you did not complete, and see if you might be able to transfer any of those to our program. The program that you are coming from, it does have to be AACSB accredited, so make sure that you check that. And the transfer process is formal. It does require approval by the department chair in the area, the dean of the College of Business, and the dean of the College of Graduate Studies. So it's an involved process. But again, if you've begun an MBA program elsewhere and you'd like to transfer some of that work, just contact us and we'll see if that's a possibility for you.
All right, so now I guess we're getting into some different topics. So even though this is a fully online MBA program, are there opportunities for graduates to participate in ongoing research remotely at the university? Not sure if you can answer that, but.
It's difficult. We do have, normally what we have is in our on-campus program, we have graduate assistantships, and those graduate students do assist with research for our faculty. I am sure that if you were interested in a particular area, that what you might want to do is contact a faculty member in that particular area. Let's say if it's accounting, that you contact an accounting faculty member and express your interest in being involved with research. And it might be a possibility. I can't guarantee anything. And in fact, right now with COVID-19, we don't even have any graduate assistants this semester on campus. Part of it's COVID-19, part of it's budgeting, which is indirectly related to COVID-19. But up until this time, our research opportunities have been predominantly for on-campus students. But I'd like to see, if that's something you're really interested in, perhaps because of the movement to online programs by so many institutions, that we might be able to become more flexible in that regard.
I'll just interject my experience. I've spoken with a couple of professors, and they seem to be open to the idea of MBA students getting involved in their research if there's like a good fit. So it might also be something that you would discuss directly with a professor.
Yeah, I think it's better discussed one-on-one with a professor.
If I get an MBA through TAMU-CC, will some of those courses count toward the Master of Accountancy at TAMU-CC? And what is the difference between the MBA with a concentration in accounting versus the Master of Accountancy?
Okay. Yes, for the first question, yes. If you complete a graduate degree at A&M Corpus Christi and then you enroll in a second graduate program, you can use 2 courses from your previous program to meet the new program requirements. So if you completed an MBA, 2 of your MBA courses could be used to meet Master of Accountancy requirements. And the second question, what's the difference between the MBA with accounting concentration and the Master of Accountancy? MBA with accounting concentration, you would have a total of 5 graduate accounting courses, 4 in the concentration, and then the 1 required accounting 5315. Master of Accountancy is definitely more accounting focused. You would have at least 8 graduate accounting courses. So 8 versus 5. So Master of Accountancy is, again, much more focused, and it's possible, in fact, to have all 10 courses in the Master of Accountancy program in accounting. Most students don't opt to do that. There are 2 electives that can be either accounting or other business, and most students opt to do those in MIS or finance.
Okay. I guess something similar, someone asked separately, do you ever see TAMU-CC having an online master's for data analytics?
A standalone Master of Data Analytics. It would probably be a Master of Science degree in data analytics. And yes, we've talked about it, but I don't know of any plans to move in that direction yet. I think we're waiting to see how many people pursue the data analytics concentration, and that would be a good indicator for us of the demand for a standalone degree in that area.
All right, and then in the chat, I'm seeing a question. Where can we go to see our progress in the MBA and to see what classes I still need to complete?
Okay, we have an opportunity called Degree Planner. And if you haven't used it, I really recommend it because it's an online degree plan, your individual degree plan. It shows you what you have completed, the grades, also if anything's been waived, and then it also shows you what you still need to complete your program. So if you haven't accessed that, go to degreeplanner.tamucc.edu and you log in with your credentials that you used to log into SAIL. And if for some reason you're not finding it, send us an email and we'll be glad to help you locate that.
And then this one, I'm willing to continue my PhD studies after getting my MBA from Texas A&M. Which university do you advise me to pursue such opportunities, taking into consideration they've gotten a master's in mechanical engineering? Do you have any guidance on pursuing a PhD?
Okay, well, first of all, we don't have at Texas A&M Corpus Christi, we do not offer any doctoral degrees in business. There's the possibility that there might be one in accounting, but that will still be several years in the future. But so presently we don't have any doctoral degrees in business, but if you were interested, depends on, again, I know I've got people that are located all over the place. If you're in Texas, because most PhD programs are going to be on-campus programs, I would highly recommend A&M College Station. And they have a strong engineering program as well, obviously. So if you were looking for something that would use your engineering skills as well as your business skills, you might contact A&M College Station, which is our flagship of the system. And then also the University of Texas at Austin also has some excellent doctoral programs. And then there are many others as well. And I know this may not be something that's appropriate for many of you if you live in another state, but if you want my individual recommendations, I can certainly work with you if you're thinking of pursuing a doctoral degree. And I also am very happy to provide recommendation letters. In fact, I just did a couple for some of our students who are applying to doctoral programs.
That's very kind of you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so for people who are finishing up the program, are honors awarded to MBA students?
Unfortunately, no. There's nothing like magna cum laude or summa cum laude at the graduate level because of the fact that we require a 3.0 GPA to be in good standing. So I know in the past, though, in the actual commencement ceremonies, many times graduate students who had a perfect 4.0 GPA would just be asked to stand to be recognized that way. But there were no other types of formal honors that awarded.
Okay. And then this question comes up quite a bit. What honor societies are affiliated with the university? So I know when I started this program, I started getting emails almost immediately about something called the Honor Society, and I'm not email. So is that affiliated with the university, and which ones are affiliated with the university?
Right, that particular one is not. And the two that I would definitely suggest if you're asked to join that you might consider are, one is Beta Gamma Sigma. And I'm actually the sponsor for that organization on our campus. Beta Gamma Sigma is an international business honor society, and it's only open to students who attend AACSB accredited programs. So that one I would definitely recommend. It is by invitation only, and graduate students are invited to membership if they are in the top 20% of their class. And the one thing nice about Beta Gamma Sigma, it's a one-time membership fee. You don't pay annual fees, so it's a lifetime membership fee. And it's well recognized. You can put it on your resume. And they do have a lot of benefits. You can get discounted car insurance. They have all kinds of relationships with different vendors. And they also have career services assistance for you. And also, if you wanted to move on to a doctoral program, they have assistance there as well. So that's one. The other one is Phi Kappa Phi, which is not just a business honor society. It's all disciplines, but it is recognized by A&M Corpus Christi, and we do have a chapter. So if you're invited to membership in Phi Kappa Phi, I would definitely consider that as well. It's very legitimate and would be something that, would be recognized by employers and would be very appropriate to put on your resume.
And when do invitations for those organizations get sent?
Phi Kappa Phi, I'm not too certain because I'm not involved with that. That's through typically college graduate studies, but Beta Gamma Sigma, I actually send out the invitations. So I can definitely tell you that that is done once a year in late February or early March. So if you feel that you meet the criteria, again, it's top 20% of your class. Be looking for that invitation, and if you don't receive it, don't hesitate, contact me and I can tell you whether you made the cut or not. So that will happen late February, early March.
Someone asked, how do we know our class rank, and is there a link for Beta Gamma Sigma? I guess I can send that out later.
Yeah, well, Beta Gamma Sigma, just if you go to betagammasigma.org, you'll hit their website. So it's there. Now, your rank, the university does not do ranking. So my office, what I actually do is for each, it's by graduating class. So if you are graduating in the spring, what I will look at is everyone who's applied for spring graduation, and then the top 20% of those students will look just at your A&M Corpus Christi graduate GPA, which for most of you, that will be your entire graduate GPA. And of course, you're in competition with your other classmates. So there's no one cutoff point for top 20%, but I can tell you historically, it's been rather high. It's usually hovered around 3.7 that if you have a 3.7 or above graduate GPA, you probably make the top 20% cut. If it's below that, it varies. Again, you can always contact me and I can tell you what the cutoff point was for your class.
Okay. And then I guess on top of that, for example, people graduating in the fall or who have graduated in the summer, you mentioned invitations go out in February. Would they be invited after they graduate?
They will, yes. The way that it has been working is if you graduate in the summer or the fall, you will be invited to membership the following February, March. So again, make certain what I do there in terms of contacting you. We typically use snail mail as well. That we'll send out a letter to your latest physical address that we have, and we also send an email. So your Islander email should be good for at least a year after you graduate. So try to keep that as something that you check or that you have forwarded. I'll also attempt to use personal email if I can locate something that looks good. I know when you graduate, they do ask for an alumni email address that you would like to use. So make sure that you do complete that.
All right, and then this comes up a lot. Can you talk a little bit about the distance fee waiver and how students can go about taking advantage of that if they qualify?
Definitely. That has been something I know that we have struggled with. If you live more than 100 miles from campus and you are taking all your courses online, so you have to be, first of all, you have to be more than 100 miles from campus, your residence, and you're taking all online courses, which I would assume you are, then you qualify for a distance fee waiver. And those, and I have to refer to my notes here so that I make sure I give you the right ones. There are 4 fees that are normally charged that can be waived. And those are the athletic fee, the health services fee, the recreational sports fee, and the student center complex fee. Now, what it requires of you is that not every term, but every group of 2 terms, you will need to submit a form that is on the business office's website in order for you to have those fees waived. And dollar-wise, if you're taking one course, the fees add up to $213.14. If you're taking 2 courses, it's not double that because some of the fees are flat. It's $325.78. So it's well worth it to apply for those waivers. So what you will need to do for the spring, if you've done a waiver for the fall, unfortunately, you're going to have to do another one for the spring. And I think the reasoning is because of people moving so frequently that the university's concerned that you might live more than 100 miles away, but then you move again, and now you're within the 100-mile radius. I think it's a little bit of paranoia on their part, but we have to do what their rules are. So you do have to reapply for the waiver in the spring, and then again in the summer, and again in the fall. But I think it's well worth it. It looks to me like the form's not too terribly cumbersome to complete and submit. So just do that, and those fees will be waived.
And then someone followed up, what's the usual turnaround time to hear back after submitting the distance fee waiver?
That I don't know, because that is entirely handled through the business office rather than my office. So you'd have to reach out to them and find out. Hopefully not too terribly long. I would say, I think the form is up for spring, so I would go ahead and do it right now for spring before. So hopefully, instead of having to credit you, you've paid the distance ed fees and now they're going to credit you. Maybe they can deduct it up front, which would be better.
Yeah, I mean, my personal experience, I've done it both ways. I've submitted it ahead of time and I haven't had to pay it, or I've submitted it too late and then they gave me a credit for the following term. So.
Okay. So whatever works for you.
Yeah. And then if anyone has any other questions, please drop them in the chat. I just have one more that's been submitted ahead of time. Do online MBA students qualify for scholarships, and how can they go about getting those?
Oh, definitely. You qualify for scholarships. If you will go to the College of Graduate Studies portion of the website and click on funding, it will take you to a scholarship application. You do have to apply for each term. Well, not each individual term, but for spring, summer, fall. So we are right now, we are in the process of awarding scholarships for spring. So it's too late for spring, but you can go ahead and apply for summer and then for fall scholarships. Typically, they are $500 or $1,000, so they're not huge amounts of money, but again, it's free money. So I always encourage everybody apply. If you get one, that's $500 you didn't have to pay. So definitely apply. You do have to write an essay along with the scholarship application. So make sure you give that attention, because those are read, believe it or not. The scholarship committee does read those essays, and they are very interested in why you feel that you're the person that deserves the scholarship.
Okay. Well, I don't see any questions, so one just popped up. I'm pursuing the concentration in accounting and plan to sit for the CPA exam. It's my understanding that TAMU-CC does not have an eligible accounting ethics course offered in an online format. Do you have any recommendations on how to find or take this ethics course?
Okay. First of all, this is going to apply only to people in Texas. So if you're not going to be licensed as a CPA in Texas, you can ignore this. But if you are, that is correct. We do not offer the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy does require completion of an ethics course in order to sit for the CPA exam. We currently do not have permission to offer that course online. We do offer it on campus, but I know that won't help most of you. So what I would recommend if you need that ethics course is to go to the Texas State Board of Public Accountancy's website and go to education requirements, and they have a list of courses that qualify, and some of them are offered online. And one that comes to mind is one of our system schools, A&M Commerce, does offer the ethics course online. And you could, after you complete your coursework here, you could apply just as a transient student there and complete that one course, and then you would meet the Texas State Board's requirement. We are looking at, hopefully, we're hoping that the Texas State Board might lessen their restrictions and give us permission to offer it online, but we'll see how that progresses. One thing that did happen as a result of COVID-19, if there's a silver lining to this whole thing, is that the Texas State Board used to require that 15 hours of accounting had to be completed on campus. And this was a real problem for students who had completed their undergraduate degree online and now are completing their master's online. But the State Board, have finally permanently changed that so that all 30 hours of accounting can be completed online. So the only thing that's holding out now is this ethics course. So we're hopeful, maybe we're taking baby steps here, that maybe we can convince them at some point to let that be online as well.
That's exciting.
I know.
Well, I think those are all of the questions that we've received, and I know we are wrapping up. We have just about 5 minutes left, so I don't know if you have anything else that you'd like to add before we close out.
Nothing really, other than thanks for taking time, and I hope that you receive some good information. And if there's anything that I touched on that you have more questions about, feel free to call or email, and we'll get back with you. And enjoy your break, stay healthy, and I hope that, and by the way, I'll be in the office through, I believe, December the 21st. So I will still be around. I won't be disappearing on you. So if you do have questions after the fall 2 term has ended, I'll be here to take those questions, and my staff will as well. And we'll be back on campus. We'll have a short break. We'll be back on campus January. Let me look at a calendar. Let's see. We'll be back on campus January 4th. So if you have questions before Spring 1 begins on January 25th, we'll be around beginning January 4th.
Okay, great. And thank you so much for your time, Sharon. We all really appreciate the insight into the program and all of the information you've provided us. I know a lot of this is kind of available online, but sometimes we have to dig for it. So it's really helpful to get it, directly from you.
Okay, sure. Not a problem at all. And again, stay safe, everybody, and have a good break between the terms.